inside 2-1. Did he get there? Yes! Jordan James! Great blocking up the front out of the I formation with a fullback leading the way.
This is Dirt and Sprague on 1080 The Fan.
So I don't think I need to ask this, but you were there. I wasn't. Loudest you've ever heard Autzen?
Loudest I've ever heard Autzen. Yeah, there used to be a mystique about the stadium, and not that it hasn't been loud, and you win a big game, it's loud. You know, touchdown score, it's loud. There used to be like a legendary status around the stadium, and it feels like that has been missing for a while, and it was back this weekend. It was like you can't think it's so loud, and the stadium and the press box is shaking, it's so loud. Yeah, I was blown away. I walked down, we got done with the pregame show at 2:30. Game started at 4:30. Helped pack some stuff up, right, hanging out for a bit, had my pregame routine. I was down on the field by about 2:50-ish, so we're about an hour and 40 minutes, basically 2 hours before the game kick, because it didn't kick at 4:30 exactly. And the student section was full. And that's the way that it used to be. Like when I was there, you used to have to line up at the gate to be one of the first people in, and you'd run up the hill to try and get a good seat. And if you didn't show up early as a student, you're all the way at the top because that thing was going to fill up fast. And the vast majority of games that I go to now, or I stick around for, you walk down on the field before the game, and there's maybe 10 rows of students, and that's it. The whole thing was packed. The rest of the stadium brought it. A lot of red, but it wasn't enough red to take away from the noise that Oregon fan was making. It was vintage Autzen, and it was awesome.
On TV, it looked like a lot of red, and I don't know what the percentage breakdown would be, but I think when you get a bigger number of the visiting fans, it actually encourages the home team fans to just say, "Oh no, we're going to up it a level today.
We gotta take it up another notch."
Now I saw one Duck media member claiming it was like 20% Ohio State on TV. It looked more than that, but I also know Oregon was wearing black.
Yeah,
red pops pretty hard. I think no matter what color Oregon was going to wear that day,
it does.
So I don't know if it'd be more than that, and it's not really that important.
I'd say 80-20 sounds fair.
80-20
75-25 maybe, if you want to get a little aggressive. They had their section up top where it was all Ohio State fans.
The visiting section.
And then there was just little pockets throughout the course of the stadium. There was an alarming thing going on. We were doing the pregame show looking around. There was a lot of red. But then you remind yourself that they don't really have any place to tailgate, so they all came in to go to the Moe Center to watch them drink beer. And so they don't have anywhere to go. So in our area where we were doing the show, we were like, Jesus, man, there was a lot of red steamrolling into this thing.
You know, we mentioned it earlier, Oregon's home field advantage, everybody knows what it is. I said it earlier, and I think the stat is right, because I thought I heard going into this they were 31 of the last 32 at home.
So their last home loss was to Washington 2 years ago, and I believe the last home loss before that was the Stanford blown game.
So I think they're now 32 of their last 33, if I'm off by a game or two, but it's somewhere right there. We know the home field advantage at Autzen is real. Pate said last night on his show that Oregon is the loudest Big Ten stadium, and I think Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State fan would take an exception to that, except there are so many photos on the internet of Ohio State fan not being able to handle the noise.
The guy plugging his ear was just fantastic.
Well, there was like 5 of those that I saw. You got the full clown makeup. Necklace Ohio State guy came out here for that game.
Oh, I saw him, old Buck Nuts or whatever they call that guy.
I love that guy.
The King Buck or the Nut or whatever he's going to be called. He had a little duck that he was holding on to, like choking him out. I saw him. He was front row on the Ohio State sideline.
I thought my favorite sign at game day was just simply "Bust a Nut." I thought that was fantastic. But the home field advantage is real, and Pate saying it being the loudest in the Big Ten. I mean, my God, welcome to a new conference with that. And so I thought it was interesting, the home field, how it impacted Ohio State, I thought was really evident, especially early on in that game.
Yeah.
And so everybody showed up and showed out. I will say, though, the weird thing, I've been to a lot of sporting events that have been loud. I don't think I'm not very good at differentiating noise levels.
Like what's louder than what else? Like,
I've been to a Boise State, Oregon State game where I'm like, I think this is the loudest thing I've ever been to. I've been to a 3-9 Oregon State, Arizona football game on the field with Nick Foles. They needed to win the game to get their second or third win. And I'm like, oh, my God, this feels like as loud as when they beat USC. And, like, I'm just not very good at differentiating noise levels.
Yeah, it's hard to do. I feel like there's a different decibel that you hit when you like take it over the top.
Because my ears will ring
No matter what.
as soon as it gets loud. Yes.
The funny thing about modern technology is that my iWatch will now give me alerts of like, hey, you're going to go deaf if you stay here. And I remember there was like an hour before the game, and it was just music playing, and the fans were yelling and kind of getting ready to go. And I kept getting alerts on my iWatch that was like, this is a certain decibel level, and if you're in this longer than 10 minutes. So it's funny that you have the technology to back that up. Going to a lot of Duck games, the last time I remember it being that loud was 2014 Michigan State. That was the last one where it felt like this has hit another level of it's not just, holy crap, this is loud, because it's always loud. And when you get big groups of people together and they're screaming, it's going to be loud. But just to that next level, the Michigan State game when they won, the year they went to the playoff, and Efo had the pick at the end of the game, and Mariota won that game, that was the last time I remembered it being that way. And it was honestly, man, like, I'm coming in with a bit of this isn't like a conference pride thing for me anymore. Like, screw the Big Ten. I got double birds up. It would be hilarious to win the conference in year one because everybody looked at Oregon coming in saying, oh, you can't play big boy football. You can't hang in the trenches. Like, yeah, can't hang in the trenches. How'd that go on Saturday night for you? And then Ohio State fans for a week spent arguing that 60,000 can't be, like, our guys play in big stadiums every week. We can handle the crowd noise. And go listen to literally every Ohio State media member that was there.
Yeah.
And their post-game videos, their post-game articles, whatever. Every single one of them, to a man or to a woman, said that the noise was one of the loudest things they've ever heard. It's one of the loudest stadiums they've ever been in. It had a major impact on their team. For a team that plays in sold-out arenas every week and big crowds every week, it was the loudest they had ever gone through. It might have peaked, honestly, and the drive in the first half when they had the multiple false starts after the fumble and Oregon was kind of seizing the momentum. They were breaking decibel levels when they got back-to-back false start penalties and then had to punt.
Now, you're pulling a Tez Johnson on me. This was the only criticism I had in post-game. Tez Johnson was interviewed on KGW, and he pulled the Georgia football, and you kind of just did too.
Oh, he said nobody gave us a chance?
And basically, everybody been doubting us. Nobody thought we could do this.
It's not from a national media standpoint. They gave Oregon a decent chance to win. It's mainly the fan bases in the Big Ten. There was an idea. We did a segment last week on Ohio State message boards and how they felt about the game.
They were kind of confident.
They thought they were going to win the game easily. The only team we can't beat is Michigan, and Oregon ain't Michigan, and they had to learn their lesson the hard way.